Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to The Body's Compass. I am Matt Sorensen. I am joined with a very special guest today. Someone who I think we're all going to find very fascinating. This is Sara Lahay. Is that how I say it?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Sara is a vision therapist, and we share a patient who wants to be... I can't remember what you said. Did she want to be named?
We can't name her if she said we could talk about her if we wanted to.
We'll call her S.
We'll call her S.
Call her S. And I was told by S about the vision therapy that she's doing, and I was fascinated given my training in the Czech totem pole, which I briefly just showed you.
Yeah.
And wanted to get you on. So here we are. Welcome.
Here we are. Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Sara, so the listeners can get to know you a little bit, can you share an overview of what has shaped you as a woman and what led you into putting so much time and energy into working with people's vision?
So when I started doing vision therapy, I actually kind of fell into it a little bit. I was finishing my uni degree, doing a Bachelor of Science, and I was in an advanced anatomy class. And during this time, we had different types of professionals come in and speak to our class and just kind of talk to us about how not the only pathway is like a surgeon or a doctor. There's other things that you can do in this space to be able to help people and treat people. And my first boss was actually one of our lecturers. He met our class and thought that we would make really great vision therapists. So he put the job offer out there, and I took it before I had even graduated, and just thought, I can defer the program I might have done for a year and see how I like it. And
so this is all in Canada?
Yeah, so I was in Canada at the time. I went to the University of Guelph and graduated with my Bachelor of Science and started a month or so after graduation to do vision therapy.
What drew you to the eyes?
So during my final project in anatomy, I actually did a full eye dissection.
Oh, that's cool.
The University of Guelph is a wonderful program that they do a full cadaver lab.
Human
Anatomy. And so they have a full cadaver lab, and I was a part of the advanced course, and you get to specialize basically in a specific part of the body or region that you could do specific dissections over like the full year. It's a major, like double major thing, and it's challenging to get in. There's only 20 spaces available.
Right.
And so I did my second part on the eye and did a little bit of the ear as well, and got to learn about that, and I found it fascinating. We all have eyes, and I can help people with this.
So interesting. What was the biggest connection you found between the eyes and the ears?
Well, now I know
that
there's a big correlation between the eyes and the ears, particularly when it comes to balance.
Yeah, so the vestibular system.
Yeah, right. So we have this kind of thing called the VOR. So it's the vestibular ocular reflex, and basically the vestibular system and the ocular system have to work together to be able to give you good balance. And so most people don't know this, but if people have motion sickness, it could be a vestibular issue, but more than likely it's actually a visual issue, because your vision, you're trying to process periphery that's coming through, but your brain isn't processing that well enough. So it's tricking your ears into feeling like there's motion, or they're not understanding the same motion. It's not aligning. And then you feel like you're sick in the car or on the train or both.
So it's basically mixed input to the brain, and just creates chaos. Yeah, right.
So you can train that and do specific things to help you with your motion sickness, not only to work on the vestibular system, which I do a bit of, but also to definitely work on the visual system. Yeah,
wow. So cool. For those people who don't know what vision therapy is, can you enlighten us?
So my normal spiel is that, because everybody has one when they're like, vision therapy, what is this, right? Even when I got into it, I had no idea what vision therapy was when I started. So vision therapy is basically, I work with kids and adults who have different eye anomalies. So if you have a lazy eye or a crossed eye, I can help you with therapy rather than maybe going down a surgical route. I work with kids all over the spectrum. I work with kids who have ADHD, who have learning difficulties, and then I also work with adults who have different kind of processing issues. If you've had a stroke or potentially a traumatic brain injury, like a car accident or something like that, I basically rehab the brain, and I use the visual system to do that because the visual system and the brain, they're the same tissue, right? The eyes are the windows to the brain. So I use the visual system to help rehab the brain and create new pathways to be able to function better, whether that's in a classroom or in an office.
How is that different to, say, something like optometry?
So obviously, like, we are connected. I work for an optometrist, a behavioral optometrist to be specific. When we're talking behavioral optometry or developmental optometry, we're not looking at just their central vision, which is what typical optometrists will look at. They look to see if you have 20/20 vision or 6/6 vision, and they want to see if you can do your charts and your reading and all that kind of stuff. But vision is so much more than that.
Yeah.
Right? That's sight, but vision is massive, right? Vision is developed. It's how everybody's born with sight, right? But vision takes like maturation throughout childhood and development to be able to coordinate the eyes together, to be able to keep things clear and in focus, right?
Not only that, but to
and
also
spatial aspect of things and hand-eye coordination.
But also
right?
to integrate the entire
Absolutely, the
musculoskeletal
whole entire
nervous
system.
everything.
Sensory integration is a massive, massive part of vision. And the big thing about vision, and a lot of people don't understand this, is that vision will override everything. So vision overrides speech and hearing, okay? Vision will override even sensory and touch. And people don't know that. Vision is our dominant sense and how we can actually intake the most information to be able to understand the world around us, and then also to be able to output and decide what we're going to do with our vision.
So vision's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Basically the Ron Burgundy of it, right?
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. So with our shared patient,
Yes.
she had an operation when she was young.
Yeah. So
explain.
she has strabismus,
Yep.
which is an eye turn. When she was very young, her eye was turning in, and then she had a surgery to help it straighten, but that surgery did not do what it wanted to do. So now her eye tends to drift out and sometimes up. Mostly one eye, but occasionally the other eye will do it if she's trying to use her right eye. So I actually ended up working with her son, and that's how she found out about our clinic. We made a massive change in her son's life, which was so beautiful to see. And I got to work with him firsthand. And then obviously, because S had a few issues herself, she realized how important it could be for her to gain some new skills, and she started vision therapy now too. And then she spoke to you. So
Yeah, well, she
why we're here today.
came to me, I think, tight shoulder, tight neck, and headaches, and she felt a pulling. And I remember doing stuff with the neck and just thinking, this is not what you think it is.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the eyes, and then we did some like esophagia assessments.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't probably until our third session, then she told me about you. I'm like, thank God you're seeing someone like that.
Yeah.
I think I actually mentioned to her a behavioural optometrist.
Yeah.
She says, oh, my son sees a vision therapist. I was like, join in.
That's the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, same thing, is it?
Well, not the same thing. So I'm a vision therapist and
Yeah.
I work for a behavioral optometrist. So
Okay.
you need to have an assessment done with one of our behavioral optometrists first before we can come up with a treatment plan
Right.
and you can come in and see me.
Okay. So depending on the assessment, you get directed to a certain person?
Potentially.
Yeah.
So we have a team at our office, which is so wonderful. I think our team is about 5 or 6 therapists now. So we're Monday to Friday, and we have multiple therapists on staff. So we have, I think, over 120 vision therapy spots that we see, and we see these clients weekly. So we're helping really like a lot of people, and our wait list is insane. I think it's about 8 pages that I'm trying to dwindle it down right now.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of people out there who need help, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate because when people come into us, they actually have no idea about vision therapy. So
Yeah.
that's why I really want to come on the podcast today, to be able to explain what it is, give people a better understanding, and how maybe we might be able to help others in similar situations.
It's also just how important the eyes are for the entire system. Like I do a lot of rehab stuff, and the amount of times something like scoliosis that you wouldn't associate normally with the eyes.
I absolutely
I've traced it, ear, jaw, eye, all the time.
Absolutely.
And people, physios even,
Yeah.
rarely put it together.
Understand that they're
Yeah.
very, very highly connected.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, the neck specifically is extremely connected to the visual system, because the cranial nerves all form from the neck and from the brain. But when the neck is really tight, it can actually squeeze the nerves, and then you can have this overworking, overdrive system. And it's a lot harder to track. It's harder to keep things clear. You can almost come up with it's a Streff-like syndrome, where because of how you're feeling, whether it's your neck or if you're having really bad anxiety, your eyes will actually just go into overdrive and shut down. And so you could have absolutely perfectly normal vision, and then you might have an event that occurs in your life, like maybe the loss of a parent or a divorce or something like that for children, and all of a sudden they cannot see.
Wow.
Their brain goes into overdrive, all of those nerves tighten up, and then their acuity, so how we measure how clear you can see, will go from 6.6 to 4 or 5 lines down the chart, and the parents are going, oh, my kid can't see anymore.
Wow.
And it's a trauma response.
Is that post-traumatic vision syndrome?
It can be.
Or is that more mechanical?
Yeah, post-traumatic vision syndrome is typically more mechanical, but you can
Sure.
comment that it would be similar to stress as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I know was there 5 or 6 sets of cranial nerves that innervate the eye?
Yeah, so it's been a long time since I've been in those anatomy classes, but
I'm a nerd.
there are definitely
Optic nerve.
definitely a few. So the optic nerve is our main one, and that's where
That's
our
along this
retina
one.
comes through, and that's where the picture comes through,
Yep.
right? We have the abducens nerve. So they're parts of the trigeminal that branch off as well, and then so we have that, and that helps move the eyes in different directions. So in terms of the anatomy, you have 6 different muscles on the outside of the eye that helps move the eyes left and right, up and down, all around. And then you also have 3 sets of types of muscles on the inside of the eye that help contract and
focus.
dilate the pupil, so that we can get lens curvature happening in your eye, so that we can pinpoint where we're looking in space.
And those cranial nerves astomose with the cervical nerves, which also go down into the neck.
Exactly,
And
and that's when your neck is really tight, you can have visual issues.
Yeah. I've had a lady who couldn't see see very well in one eye, and I released a trigger point in the suboccipital area, and it referred directly, she said it felt, from what she was explaining, it went through the visual cortex, through the optic chasm, and then through to the optic nerve into the eye. And then she said as she was opening her eyes, it started to clear up just from the trigger point.
Yeah.
I looked amazing just from putting that together.
Well, the big thing
it's just the anatomy
with
of it,
the neck, and this is the coolest thing, if you look at a brand new newborn baby, their eyes look crazy. They are going up, they're going down, they're moving all around, they do not coordinate together, and then something magic happens. So when a baby can be on its tummy and start lifting the neck independently, that neck muscle, because bigger muscles help move smaller muscles, that action helps lock the eyes in. Okay?
Yep.
So
that's where the neck
big,
curve is
big
formed
development.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
In the
work
cervical.
heaps of that in infant development
Absolutely.
stuff. I know as well that the vagus nerve, so I know when the sympathetic system is too much, it will dump excess into the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve will dump it into the rest of the body.
Yes.
Depending, but then the rest of the body tightens up, which then affects the eyes, as you were talking about.
Absolutely.
So how much stress, it's probably not a fair question, how much stress can the eye take?
See, that's
Yeah.
like, how long's a piece of string,
That long.
right? But there's no like true answer, and
Okay.
obviously everybody's going to be different.
So it's very
But
subjective.
when we come in terms of breath is actually the very first thing that I teach majority of patients is how to breathe, and breathe nice and deep to activate the vagus nerve and have those sympathetic and parasympathetic systems trying to kind of equalize, because majority of people nowadays are a lot more stressed out than they used to be, even in children, which is really hard to see. And then they are just overworking their systems. And majority of people who are coming in to see me, that's what I'm seeing them for,
okay.
among other issues that are happening. But the main thing is they are looking too hard. And our eyes were never designed to do that. So like if we think way, way back, right? We were designed to find shelter, to hunt for food, right? Find water, okay? All distance tasks. And now we are on screens and tablets and in a classroom and learning to write and read and doing everything at an arm's length distance, right? That's a big, big strain on our system. And our eyes were never designed to do that, right? When you think like all the way back. So not only are we putting ourselves into this like duress mode, but then when we're doing it for hours on end, right? If you think about people who work on a screen for how many hours a day, right? 8 hours a day, let's say, right? There's a big, big pandemic that's really coming through, which is myopia or nearsightedness. And there's a really well-known fact that they're predicting in 2050, 50% of the world's population is going to be myopic.
Wow.
And whether that's the increased stress of near point, or even just the lack of being able to go outside, there's other things kind of coming, and there's speculation. I don't think we're ever going to have maybe a true answer. A lot of the time people were thinking that myopia was genetic, and it was passed down, which there are factors in that, but I don't think we might ever truly know. But from my viewpoint, I would say that it's because of this increased near work and this pressure to be able to keep things clear for long periods of time. That's where we're starting to lose distance, right? If we're putting that extra work, your body's gonna ramp that right up, and then it's gonna go, it's like if you held a weight up here for 8 hours, right? How well do you think, if you were holding it up here, would you be able to actually relax all the way out to get full extension of that muscle to be able to straighten your arm? It'd be really hard, right? And so eventually, if you're telling me I need to be up here all the time, then I'm gonna lose that. And that's what happens with our eyes. Those inner muscles that I was talking about, they work so hard to put the focusing system at a 40 centimeter range that it's like, okay, well, if you want me here, then that's going to go. And that's how myopia develops.
It's also a reflection of people's psyche as well.
100%. Absolutely.
Like that's most people's behaviors.
Yeah.
Really, isn't it?
Most of the time, just based on how someone walks into my room, how they start to speak to me, I can basically tell what visual issue they might have just from personality and traits and how they come across. There's a big, big correlation when it comes to things like that.
Let me just put my sunglasses on. So most people don't know about vision therapy, or they don't know that vision therapy, they associate it most with kids.
Yeah.
But it's also for adults.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you see something like screen time in adults and kids affecting vision and their processing?
Yeah, so we basically just covered that. It's really, if we're going to be on screens for a long period of the day or doing these near tasks for a long period of the day, we need to make sure that we're giving adequate breaks. So things like recess and having outdoor time is actually crucial if you want vision to develop the way that it should, right? And have that flexibility between the systems to be able to do everything that you want it to do. Because it's like anything. If you do anything too much, right, you're going to get into a pattern of that, right? And I'm sure you see that all the time too, depending on how people may sit, right? Or how they might move their head, or like have a certain head posture and things. And like, obviously, if I'm gonna be like this all the time, this part of my neck's going to get really tight. I'm going to feel uncomfortable. Vision wise, right? I'm shifting my vertical axis. So there's lots of different things and adaptations, and people are really good at adapting.
Oh,
right?
master.
We try and find the easiest thing, and it's our natural way of living, right? We would rather do the easy thing than the hard thing.
Of course, yeah.
Right? But the thing with vision and why it kind of works backwards is that a lot of people think if something gets blurry or if I lose my place, I've got to work that little bit harder, right? I've got to just put that little extra effort in. And that's actually the opposite way that the eyes work, right? We were never designed to be up here, right? We were never designed to be on screens for a long, long period of time.
Well, really at all, arguably.
Arguably.
Yeah.
Right?
But we are.
Craftsmanship, penmanship,
Yeah.
even the development of language and reading, right, was the start to this near work that we now are constantly doing. Probably way, way more than we ever should be. And I feel like most people can attest to that.
Because the eye muscles, they're fast twitch. So they need regular rest periods.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But,
So-
but we don't give it.
No.
No. We just put glasses on. And
So, well, and the big thing about glasses, and a lot of people don't really understand glasses and what they're designed for. So majority of people think about glasses as seeing glasses. So I cannot see, and I put my glasses on, and magically everything is clear, and I can see.
I do like magic.
Okay? Magic.
Yeah.
But glasses don't have to be that way.
Yeah.
And I think with all of the advanced screen time that we're doing and the sheer volume of it, majority of people actually should be in glasses when they're doing their near work. So it doesn't have to be this like, I can't see, I'll put my glasses on. It can be a preventative measure for overworking the system. To have some glasses on, they help your brain function better. Your eyes aren't overworking. They can work together as a team with your brain. A lot of the time, majority of the kids that I see, they have a really nice, beautiful, light, teeny tiny prescription. And the parents will put them on and will go, I don't think this is working. Like they're not doing anything. I can't even really see a difference.
Yep.
But the brain sees a difference. And kids can even listen better with their glasses on because what the glasses do is to help relax the eyes a little bit. And then that helps organize their whole space around them too. So imagine like going into a room that is like full of mess and chaos, right? And you go to look and find something, but it's not where you put it last and it's somewhere over here, right? Glasses just like organize the room, clean it up. And you know how that feels when you go into a room of chaos versus when you go into a room of clean, right? There's a feeling and all of your sensory motor systems like that feeling. So glasses don't have to be the, I can't see, let me put my glasses on glasses. They can be organization glasses or learning glasses. As I like
What
to call
about
them.
the blue blocker glasses?
Blue blocker glasses. Now, I don't know enough about the topic. We do prescribe blue blocker glasses to people if they request them in terms of light filtering and things like that. I think personally, I would rather work on visual hygiene for a lot of people.
What is that?
So visual hygiene is basically what we talked about, having breaks from your screen, right? Giving yourself ideally like 7 minutes every hour of work that you do.
7 minutes per hour. Okay.
7 minutes every hour, right? So I call it the 7-minute rule. Every hour for 7 minutes. If you're going to work for an hour, take 7 minutes, go for a walk, go to the bathroom, get a drink, right? Don't sit at your desk, don't sit at your screen. It helps you get up, right?
That you're not referring to Instagram here.
No.
Good.
Right?
Just to clear.
But even if you are, if you're doom scrolling for hours on end, right? It's demanding work for your visual system. So stop, right? Yeah. And we all get caught in it, I myself included, right? But I do wear my glasses. I wear glasses at work, right? I wear glasses if I'm reading a book or doing anything that's up close because I want to save my vision for far work, right? I actually was myopic and I had LASIK done when I was in my 20s. So I did rely on glasses, the seeing glasses that we need. And I couldn't see anything far away because when I was younger, I was overworking my system.
Does that basically just eye fatigue?
Yeah, right? So It's more than that though,
Sure.
because when we talk about myopia, the actual shape of the eye changes, right? So instead of it being like a globe, it becomes more like a football.
Okay. Yeah, that would change stuff.
Yeah.
And the visual inputs into the brain.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Forgot my next question. There it is out.
That's all right.
Sarah, I see patients with all kinds of musculoskeletal imbalances and dysfunction, some of which you can trace back to the eyes. And the client or the patient had no idea that it was connected. So can you expand on some of your experiences with that?
Definitely. So, like we talked about before, big muscles help move smaller muscles. So when I have people come in, a lot of the time, I take a look over their primitive reflexes because I want to see how they've developed and how they're moving, because development makes a big difference in how your visual system develops, like we talked about, right? It's a very complex, continuing developmental thing that happens throughout childhood development and maturation of a visual system. So if there's certain reasons why they can't sit still because they're doing this and they can't, it might be a spinal volant reflex that we might need to work on, because obviously if your head is bobbing around, it's going to be really hard to read and write and do all the things that you want because you can't sit still in a chair, right? Or even if they've got that kind of constant motion happening, right? I look at that and go, okay, well, let's see if we can do things so that you can learn how to control your big parts of your body and work a little bit on like strength and finesse of how you can move through space. Because if you can't move your arms or your legs, how on earth are you gonna integrate what am I trying to say? Integrate the visual eye movements and being able to do fine, intricate, that's the word I'm looking for, movements of the visual system. Because it's not just sight, right? You have two eyes. They have to overlap to give you a nice clear image, and you need to use your space and your 3D mapping to be able to actually get the information out, right? It's everything. It's your comprehension and being able to understand what you're seeing and where things are in space, right?
I see, so you just reminded me of a person in the chair. I used to work with a golfer. So you of all people would appreciate the roles that the eyes would play in looking at a ball, trying to swing a club to get that ball into a hole 500 meters away.
Absolutely.
The acuity and intricacy that not only from the eyes, but every single joint in the entire body, but it's been driven by the eyes.
It's all driven by the visual system.
And he came in for treatment. He had a lot of tension in one of his optic nerves, which you can tell. I don't know how you do it, but I push it in. If there's no rebound, that tells me there's tension in the optic nerve, also pressure around the...
I do not do it that way. I do it from the... Usually you can see it realistically.
Yeah.
Like people will be like kind of squinting, right? And they'll kind of like look at you
It's
like
doing
far,
a crazy
right?
right now.
Yeah, right? So sometimes they can present like that.
Yeah,
we'll do like basic eye stretches, and then they're like either not blinking at all, right? Where they're like, oh man, this is hard, this is tiring, right? So I do more of a functional kind of moving and seeing how they are moving rather than a physical, I would say. But I've never even heard of that one.
Well, where he came in, he kept hooking the ball. And turns out, chicken or the egg, right? He had a real bad fall on his bum when he was, I think, 15, if I remember. And his coccyx was kind of fixated one way.
Wow.
But where I'm going with this is that put a tension in the dura, which has bony attachments to the periosteum of the sacrum, the coccyx, up to C2, but also merges in with the cranial fascia, which also merges in with the fascia of the eyes.
Yeah.
So that, whether that was pulling the eyes out or the eyes were keeping that out as well. But once he straightened that out, he was able to hit the ball straight.
Yeah.
For the first time.
Everything's connected.
Yeah.
Right? The whole, the ankle bone's connected to the leg bone, whatever it is, that song, it's so true, right? It literally starts from the feet up. Like there's so much connection throughout the whole entire body. But the visual system in particular is the way that we can kind of intake the information of what we're seeing around us and be able to move through space in the way that we want in direct action, right? So the visual system gives us the most amount of information to be able to do what we want to do.
Which leads into the next question, which I know I got in trouble for asking it the way it was written before. But we were talking about how much energy the eyes require.
Not much.
Not much.
No. So a lot of people, like I said, they do overwork their visual system. And whether that's even at near or at distance, a lot of people are looking too hard. So I teach people how to look soft. And there's like 3 basically big components to this. So the first one is making sure that you can breathe, right? A lot of people, when they're doing new tasks and new things, they will hold their breath, right? Tense up. So I want to make sure people are breathing. I want to make sure they're blinking, right? We need moisture in our eyes. That's what it's that tissue. So we need to make sure that we're blinking because people will like stare, right? And I'm sure you've probably felt that too if you've had a long day on a screen and you're like, oh man, my eyes are tired, they're dry, right? All of the things, it's annoying. So we need to make sure we're breathing and blinking. And then probably the most important part about using your vision softly is using periphery. So a lot of people think they know what periphery is, but they don't actually know what it is. So do you know what periphery is?
Well, I'm thinking like out in the peripheral.
Out in the peripheral.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to word it to you a little bit differently because I do like to call it side vision for the kids who are with me because it's easier to remember than peripheral vision. But if you take a look at my nose, okay, my nose is nice and clear. All right. But while you're looking at my nose, are my eyes just as clear as my nose?
Not quite.
No. Okay. And this is because we can only keep about the size of a coin clear at a time. This is your central vision. Okay. This is what most optometrists will test. If you go to a regular optometrist. Okay. But that's only 6%. Okay. 94% of our vision is peripheral vision. Yeah. And if you are not able to use that peripheral vision well, or if you're not able to centrally and peripherally integrate your vision, right? And that's dynamic 3D vision that your 3D vision glasses can show you at your movie if you're doing 3D movie. You need to be able to do that well and easily for you to have great quality vision. So 94%. Wow. A lot of people aren't doing that. And it's, like I said, the 6% is really important. That's how we have clarity. That's why we can distinctly tell letters apart and being able to kind of identify things, right? So you're thinking about where am I, where is it, what is it, and what can I tell you about it, right? Those are the systems of vision in general, right? You have to be able to do all of those things, complex things, together at the same time to have a full spectrum of vision, right? But if you're only focusing on one thing and you're working too hard in that central bit, you're losing a lot of that mapping.
Lovely shit. So the eyes themselves, what if you're focusing on one particular thing for a long time, be it screen or plant or whatever? Does it require the same amount of energy, or is it more, because I know on a screen it oscillates, right?
Yeah.
So does that require different focus for the eye?
Well, you have to kind of think too, like how often are you actually only looking at one single point, right? Not very often, because our eyes are constantly jumping. To read, you have to do a saccade, which is jumping from one to the other. You need to be able to use periphery to help you skim. And great readers have great periphery because you're not reading every single word. The brain is faster. The brain and the eyes are quick. And if you have, let's say, a brain injury, and we're going from like nanoseconds of getting the information into the brain to be able to put an output in, right? Out, I should say. Compared to like a millisecond or even like half a second, that is eons for the brain because we're working in an instant. So people can get really frustrated if they do have visual deficits that feel like they're just slow and cognition is slow. And so doing things for a long period of time, right? If we're not giving ourselves adequate breaks, we can, there is more energy being put in, particularly on a screen, right? You're still going to move around, but you're not getting the fast movement like you would if you were outside.
So we get the vision before the eyesight.
Yeah.
The input.
Yeah.
And then by the time it consciously registers with, oh, that's what I'm looking at. Like that's...
It's, the process is so fast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's so many books and textbooks and everything of all the actual mechanics of your like specific cells in the back of the retina and everything. I don't want to bore you with details, and I don't know enough details to really like give you all the information, but there's so much that's processing in such a short time frame that we can't even comprehend it. Honestly,
that's why
it's incredible, and that's why I love the visual system.
Well, a lot of it gets stored subconsciously too.
Yeah.
Because like we can look outside, a car might go past.
Yeah.
We won't even register that.
Nope.
But our field will
everything
pick up
is happening around
every
us.
single detail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's also true with trauma of any kind. That's
Absolutely.
the whole thing in itself, isn't it? So as you know, with stress, there can be therapeutic stress. There can also be, like a therapeutic stress can be solving a problem or doing a workout. But how does, you touched on it a little bit before, how stress impacts our vision. So can you tell us more about, let's say, day-to-day stress?
Day-to-day stress. So I think we covered this mostly, but if you are more stressed out, your visual system is going to work harder. If you're doing something like writing, you might be pressing your pencil a little bit too hard. As you're getting a little bit more stressed out, you might hold your breath. You might. I hope so. Yeah, writing is a foundation skill, I think. People need to learn how to write.
What about diet?
Diet. Plays a massive role, right? You of all people know that. Like, obviously, if we're pumping people full of sugar and carbohydrates and things like that, the whole system and the gut is going to just unravel, essentially. So if people are really struggling visually, a change in diet could be helpful to be able to have better concentration and focus, right? Being able to function day to day better, being able to feel like cognition is higher and more achievable.
And hydration.
Yeah,
as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about, completely brain farty. Something like an argument with someone. How would that affect vision in your experience?
Typically with stress, and this is probably the main factor in why people are looking too hard, is that periphery will just shut down, right? Yep. We kind of get into tunnel vision.
Is that like a survival thing?
Yeah, I think it's part of it, right? Because like if you were hunting or being hunted, like obviously you are going. That's what's happening. And tunneling sometimes can be helpful, but like anything, if we get into the tunnel and we can't get out of it, down we go, right? So we need to make sure that, yes, like if we're learning something new, or if it's crucial that we remember a phone number or have to remember this specific thing that we read, and make sure that we're not forgetting it if we have to relay information to someone else, right? You might get down that tunnel, but can you get back out of it, right? Can you open up the periphery and be able to go, oh no, okay, like I'm working too hard, let me just have a breath.
Yep.
Right?
Going back to the brain. I love the brain.
Me too.
So when people refer to the eyes, they don't really mention or think about the brain.
Brain and the eyes are the same thing.
What is the neurophysiological connection, and how does it support neuroplasticity with vision?
So there's a lot of chat about...
As nerdy answer as possible.
There's a lot of chat about neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing is like the critical period that everyone talks about. So they say like by the time someone is 8, right, the critical period is over and we can't do anything, and that's it, right? So, but neuroplasticity is constant, right? I have patients who are 80 and are doing vision therapy, and we're changing the way that their brain is functioning, and I rewire it and let them be able to function better than they were when they first came in, right? So neuroplasticity is constant. I feel like everybody can learn. You can teach an old dog new tricks, right? If you wanted to learn the piano and you put time and effort into it, right?
It's constantly updating itself, isn't it?
Right? It's constantly updating itself. But vision is how you're getting that information in there, right? I mean, there's like other senses that you can use. You can use your ears and learn and things like that. You can touch something if you need to learn and understand more sensory motor input. But majority of our information coming in is vision, right? And not only is it vision, but like vision maps over 70% of the brain. It's not just in the occipital lobe. You have vision sensors in your frontal lobe and temporal lobe, and giving your brain more information, not just in a visual sense, if that makes sense.
Yep. Well, because the vision would capture an image.
Yeah.
The image we think we store it in the brain, but there's zero evidence that I've found that we don't think in the brain, but we think with the body. It gets processed by the brain. So our unconscious shows us images constantly, which is visual input from the eyes.
Yeah.
And I had a really interesting patient late last year. She was born blind.
Okay.
And she had no concept of darkness. Zero.
Yeah.
Concept of darkness. And she, funnily enough, draws. So she paints. She doesn't know what she's painting.
Yeah.
But she can tell by the strokes what it is.
Yeah.
And I just thought,
well, it's all part of developmental, right? Yeah. So when babies are born and how their vision is shocking, it's awful, right? But vision develops as they go. Sure. So the way that vision is developed, it actually does start more motor in terms of being able to touch and feel. That's why babies are constantly grabbing at things, and then they start putting things in their mouth because they want to be able to taste it and get more information, right? As soon as you hear the little bell ding or music, and that's why babies love music, because then auditory processing starts to begin. And then once they get to a certain age where the sensory and auditory and everything kind of come together, then vision will take over, and it overrides all of that stuff anyway. Yeah. So there's some really cool like videos and things that we can discuss later, but there's some really cool things that you can check out on YouTube, and things called the McGurk effect. I've heard that. Yeah. So it's a video of a gentleman who is saying ba ba ba, and you can hear the audio and everything like that, and then he changes it to fa fa fa, right? But the audio actually hasn't changed. Only the mouth has changed, and the sound that he looks like he's making is f with an F. Yeah. But the audio is always ba. And because we can see the f sound coming from his mouth, your brain actually will hear it as f, not ba. Wow. Right? Same thing with like amputee patients, and how they can have the syndrome that you feel pain, missing limb, phantom limb syndrome, right? They can use mirrors to show the limb of the true limb in the opposite side. So if it was an arm, they put a mirror here, and you can see this arm over here, or a leg, whatever it is. But just seeing that can actually give your brain information, even though the limb is completely gone or maybe non-functional. But it will give your brain enough information, if you're moving it and watching it, that the pain can go away. Right? And that's not with everybody, but it's a really interesting topic, because vision overrides everything.
What if someone in that situation had poor eyesight? Same principle, I know.
But it depends on what would be happening.
Sure.
Right? Like, I feel like there's many factors, and that's what I kind of take into account when I see patients come in too, right?
Yes.
A lot of patients will have several different reasons of why they've come in, right? It could be the fact that they can't concentrate at school, right? They might have an ADHD diagnosis. They might have a turned eye or something like that. And treatment plans are based on the individual, just like I'm assuming you do your treatment plans, to find the best treatment plan for them and create it so that we're working towards the goals that they want to achieve.
Yeah, okay. What do you wish more people understood about their eyes and brain?
I think that they are one and the same. The eyes are really, really powerful, and vision doesn't just like happen.
Yeah.
People, like I said, people are born with sight, but vision is developed, and not everybody develops in the same way, right? Babies crawl and walk at different times. Some kids don't crawl at all, right? Some people are good at math, and some people are good at English, right? It doesn't mean that everybody's the same, and it doesn't mean that we can't change or learn new things. So I hope if people are struggling with their vision, or I guess that's a hard bit too, particularly with children, because they actually don't know that it's like not normal to see different ways, right? They just kind of think, oh, this is how I see, and this is how everybody sees, right?
That's all they know.
Yeah, and that's all they know. So I actually have a good little graphic here.
Oh, yes.
Give that to you there.
Yeah. Is this, what am I doing? Am I reading this?
No, you don't need to read it, but it's just a good graphic to say that I've got I've just handed Matt a page with a bunch of different kind of types of font. And saying that everybody who can see in these kind of strange ways can see and pass the screening. So if things are blurry and kind of come in and out of focus, if there's a size change, or if there's spacing between things, if things are floating, if things are like pulled apart or narrowed together, or if there's double vision, all of those kids could pass a regular screening test.
Yeah, wow.
Right?
Just hold it up to the camera.
Yeah.
For those who have us on camera. Yeah, wow. That's also interpreted differently by every single person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So in terms of development, that like it's hard to nail down like what came first, chicken or the egg, right?
Yeah.
And being able to say that this is the answer, right?
Yeah.
But because vision is dominant, if there is a visual deficit, a lot of the time, if we can do therapy and change that, you'll start noticing changes to everything, right? I know one of your questions was about ADHD, so maybe we'll just jump into that one,
Sure.
right? And how ADHD is much more prominent nowadays, and we're seeing more and more of it. So a lot of these children or adults who come in with a diagnosis, a lot of them do have visual deficits too, which for me isn't very surprising, because if you're going to diagnose ADHD and do like a proper diagnosis, over half of the kind of criteria that they look at, over half is completely visually related.
Yeah, wow.
So if they have a visual deficit, but they're ticking these boxes to potentially get a diagnosis, it may very well be ADHD, but there may be visual underlying symptoms. So if we can fix the vision, sometimes some of the behaviors and things that they see are changing because the visual system is organized and makes sense, right? We talked about that with the glasses and being able to kind of go, oh, wait a minute. So if you think about that page and how kids can see all different types of moving and words and double and all of these things, and they can still pass a vision screening, right? But they're trying to learn how to read, and they're expected to try and sit for hours a day to learn how to read.
Sure.
And seeing like this, like, would you want to sit there for 2 hours a day and try and learn how to read when you're...
I tried.
Right?
Yeah.
So that may come across as someone who is inattentive, right? But it might not be just that. So I think for me, I want people to know that vision therapy exists, because a lot of visual symptoms are
Well, they're so seemingly
are
unrelated.
associated with
Yeah.
other things, and
Yeah.
people don't really realize that it is a visual symptom
Yeah.
rather than a behavioral symptom, because they do go hand in hand.
Yeah, 100%. I would see more the mechanical side of it.
Yeah.
Where I'd send them to you for the behavioural stuff, but I've noticed that everything posturally, musculoskeletally, if that's a word, even the attention in your big toe affects your eyes. And just all the cranial nerves hold hands, and they essentially run the body.
Absolutely.
And where the eyes go, the body follows.
Yes, definitely. That's a very true
But
fact.
not only physically, but also metaphysically, because depending on what book you read, our third eye, which is technically our first eye, the pineal gland, which produces xanthines and dimethyltryptophan, creates that bridge between physical and non-physical. But the ideas that we have are in the non-physical, but then we still follow them, don't we? Just sharing that anyway.
Yeah.
That's what go do. Is there, in your opinion, one eye brain exercise everyone should try?
I think just the awareness of periphery and the understanding of like we don't need to work so hard with our visual system. I think it's just such a great kind of place to start for a lot of people. So one of the easiest things to do that you can do is if you pick a pinpoint to look at, so you can look at me, and then I want you to kind of just notice one thing kind of around the clock that you might be able to notice in each clock point. So it's called peripheral clock.
Yep.
And basically you can just do it to yourself in your head and just kind of go, oh, I can see the table over here and I can see my knees down at 6 o'clock, right? And be able to kind of just pinpoint things and really take your space in, right? And immediately as you do this, you should actually feel a little bit of release, right? The visual system's nice and calm, nice and relaxed. You should feel good, right? Your eyes should feel uneasy. And it's a great way to kind of start your day, or if you feel like you need a break from your screen, it's a great little thing to do just to kind of reset so that you can get back into what you want to do.
I like the eye rolling, keeping your head still, either as a biomechanical thing, either fixating your eyes and then moving your head around, or keeping your head still and moving your eyes around.
Yeah, so that is a good activity to do just in terms of like regular eye movement. I kind of more so like a target where you can just kind of go side to side, up and down, kind of make an X. Or you can even do it like a circle, going in and out around, or you could do like up and down, okay? The big thing with adding neck movement into it is you're also adding vestibular input into it. So if there are any underlying vestibular issues that are happening, we just have to be mindful, or even neck mechanics and things like that, if there's tightness and things.
Well, often the atlas gets subluxed.
Yes.
And I know there's the superior, what's it called? Superior cervical ganglion goes through the transverse process, which of the atlas, but also feeds into the visual apparatus and regulates flow to the head and neck.
So most people should be able to do side to side, kind of, it's called a doll's eye, we like to call it, because your eyes look like they're moving, right? Even though they're staying still and your head's moving. So most people should be able to do that, but if there are any underlying issues, or if it makes you feel nauseous or sick, right, it's a really kind of good indication that there may or may not be a visual problem or even a vestibular issue. So
even a visceral issue.
Yeah, could be.
As well.
Absolutely.
This has been absolutely fascinating. We need to hang out more, I've decided.
Okay.
Sarah, feel free to share any final comments. Where can people find you, services you offer, anything you want to share?
So people can find us at the Eyesite Clinic, with Melissa Allen is our owner and head behavioral optometrist. We have a nice little team there with 2 more optometrists, as well as our team of vision therapists who are amazing. We're in Caringbah on Port Hacking Road. If you want more information, you can go to our Australian association. It's called ACBO, ACBO. So that is our big association here in Australia and Australasia. And then there's other resources if you are around the world. In the States, it's previously COVD. I can't remember what the new acronym is now. OVDRA, OVDRA, I think is what it is. Previously COVD. If you Google that, you can find that. That's where I was certified in the States. And then there's some really great forums just in terms of understanding and learning about visual issues and vision therapy in general. So one of my favorite resources is a Facebook group called Vision Therapy Parents Unite. It's real stories with real parents who've done the journey. It's a long journey. It's not a short thing. Like, there's no magic pill that I can give you. We're retraining your brain, right? And sometimes that can be different depending on what the issue is going on. So I see patients in therapy for 10 weeks, 20 weeks, years on end, right? Depending on what's going on. So that's a really great resource for people. And then just as a general, I always like to give a big shout out to the teachers, because teachers are typically the first people to see visual issues kind of arise when kids are learning to read, learning to write, having different postures, having different behaviors and things like that. So a great resource is a TED Talk that I like to give everybody. It's really nice and quick. I think it's about 11 minutes. It's Cameron McCordon's Overlooking Our Vision. And it's a really great TED Talk that just kind of describes what visual issues might look like in the classroom. So I often give teachers that to have them have a look at.
Awesome.
And then if you're struggling, find a behavioral or developmental optometrist.
Nice. Any socials?
Not really. We're working on the social media side of things, but www.theeyesite.com.au is our website. There are references and resources on our website too, so you can definitely check that out too.
Put that up.
Great.
Sarah, thanks for coming in.
You are very welcome. Thanks for having me.
See you. Had to. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
You've been listening to the Body's Compass podcast with Matt Sorensen and today's guest, Sara Lahay. If you're interested and want to know more, you can visit www.theeyesite.com.au. If you liked this week's episode, please consider giving us a 5-star rating and a warm review. Please share this episode with someone you think it might help. If you want to find out more, give us a follow on Instagram @The Body's Compass. Subscribe to Matt's YouTube at Matt Sorensen Live or swing by heelhub.net. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time.